Meghan Markle here.
Today is July 7th, 2026. It is 3:38 a.m. This is video number 2. Video number 1, most likely I'm gonna have 2 parts to it because it passed more than 30 minutes. So I'm probably gonna have part 1 and part 2 for video 1. So this is video number 2. Oh my god, I have thumbnails to make. These are the videos I made yesterday my first video since I came back from vacation. Alright, so let's go on X. This is the first tweet. Prince Harry has arrived in the UK. The good King Harry, as Princess Diana nicknamed him, has arrived, and you know the royal vibes are about to act up. Is that a music video?
Can I be yelling out?
Okay, so it's a music video. I can't even play the music properly. I'm going through it really quickly. So it seems like he arrived. On my last recording, they're saying that he's not gonna. Oh my god, the cat. So the squad are just happy that he returned. The last recording, it says that Buckingham Palace will not receive him, and I was like, I'm glad, because the last time Harry flew to the UK, when they first announced Charles had cancer, he flew to the UK, but the place that they wanted him to stay in Buckingham Palace, there was no security. They wanted him to stay in an area where there's no safety, security or camera or whatnot, and anybody could come in and out as they please, and they put his life at risk. I don't know. Alright, next tweet. Quote, I'm so glad Prince Harry is not staying at Buckingham Palace. Charles is rich. He can pay for his security. He should be ashamed of himself. He can overrule Vivek if he wants to, and I will overrule it for my grandchildren. By now we should get the picture. Alright? The thing is, the UK, like I've said in past videos, is where evil originated. What's the term used? The things that what's the term used? The attributes, the characteristic of evil is pretty much being displayed by the royal family. Envy, greed, they want everything for themselves, even though they have everything, pretty much almost everything, but they still want more. So they want what Harry has, that influence. All right, the kind of influence that Harry possesses naturally, with his own reality, I would say, with his own things that he do for fun because he enjoy doing them. So the institution envy that quality, that attribute that Harry has, but the work that is required to have that attribute, the institution, the royal family don't want to do it. What they want to do is do evil things, inflicting unnecessary pain to people, make people miserable, and so they could sit back and watch and laugh. This kind of attribute, the majority of people do not like it. So people resent that kind of attribute that the royal family possesses. But the royal family, want to be cheered for it. Unlike Harry, who possesses the attribute of kindness, empathy, understanding, this kind of things. People like it, and he's doing things with his own heart to make people feel at ease, pain-free, painless. How would you characterize it? Make people feel happy. The little moment you have on this earth to feel comfortable and happy and live pain free. These are the kind of thing that Heavy's giving people, and he enjoyed doing it. A simple thank you. Let's say Heavy does something for you and people say thank you, oh my god, I so appreciate it, I need it. This is what gives Heavy joy, to see that people uh, appreciate the thing that he can give pretty much. But the UK royal family, they want to do the opposite pretty much of what Harry is doing, and they want to be cheer for it. They want to people to like them for it, and people resent that. Nobody wants to live in pain. Am I making myself clear? All right, so that's that. All right, so Harry is not gonna stay in the UK. So let's listen to this. 1 minute and 26 seconds.
Lovely to hear from you, Sharon. How are you feeling about Prince Harry in this current predicament where he can't even stay at Buckingham Palace now?
Good afternoon, lovely Vanessa and guest. Now, Tessa, I'm so glad that Harry's not staying at Buckingham Palace. I'm so glad.
Why?
I'm not being pleased, but Charles is the richest man in the world, and he can't even afford to pay for his grandchildren, security for his grandchildren. I would do anything for my grandchildren. My grandchildren live in America, and if I need to visit them here, I would pay for it. Charles expects the taxpayers to pay for it. I find it absolutely shocking and appalling, and I think he should be ashamed of himself. I really do.
So what you're saying, Sharon, is that you feel that the king ought to have been paying for their security while they're here out of his own pocket?
I do.
Right.
Yes, out of his own pocket, not taxpayers.
Okay, not even that. Okay, because Harry had offered to pay for it himself. They refused. At least that part where if Charles doesn't want to pay for it, that's fine, because Harry has the money to do it. Give the permission for him to hire his own, armed security. That alone would have been just fine. But he refused every door. He closed every door for Harry. Whatever Harry wants, he's like the opposite. Let's continue. And I've said, and I think it was in Spare where Harry said, where he was talking to his family. I have that clip where he said what he most worried for is the security.
Began to address Granny about the 5 options. Your Majesty, you've seen the 5 options? Yes, she said. We all had. They'd been emailed to us. 5 different ways of proceeding. Option 1 was continuance of the status quo. Meg and I don't leave. Everyone tries to go back to normal. Option 5 was full severance. No royal role, no working for Granny, and total loss of security. Option 3 was somewhere in between, a compromise, closest to what we'd originally proposed. I told everyone assembled that, above all, I was desperate to keep security. That was what worried me most, my family's physical safety. I wanted to prevent a repeat of history, another untimely death like the one that had rocked this family to its core 23 years earlier, and from which we were still trying to recover. I'd consulted with several palace veterans, people who knew the inner workings of the monarchy and its history, and they all said option 3 was best for all parties. Meg and I living elsewhere part of the year, continuing our work, retaining security, returning to Britain for charities, ceremonies, events. Sensible solution, these palace veterans said, and eminently doable. But the family, of course, pushed me to take option 1. Barring that, they would only accept option 5. We discussed the 5 options for nearly an hour. At last, the bee got up and went round the table, handing out a draft of a statement the palace would soon be releasing, announcing implementation of option 5. Wait, I'm confused. You've already drafted a statement? Before any discussion? Announcing option 5? In other words, the fix was in this whole time? This summit was just for show? No answer.
This is where they took it, because Harry told them this is what he's feared for the most, so they used that against him. He should have just shut his mouth, don't say anything to them. So they use what he feared the most, they're using it against him, so he could submit to the will of whatever it is that they want him to do. Alright, let's continue.
Why do you think taxpayers should pay for it? Why can't he pay for it? He's a very rich man. Why not?
And if I say the fact, which is it wasn't the King's decision, it isn't the King that
Oh,
reviews
please.
it to see whether Harry ought or ought not to have security.
He's part
That's
of
a
it.
particular body that exists.
I highlight about Ravik even before the Ravik term came into the sphere, the talking point of heavy security on PYTE, my other channel. When the security issues was being discussed from the very beginning, I did my research and learned about Ravik. Okay, I discussed it, and then Charles have his own people who works. I mean, Harry said it too, but has people from the palace who works at Ravik, when Ravik should have been independent from the royal family, but they integrate everything, mix everything up. People who's working at the royal family, for the royal family, is involved with Ravik and all of that. I could understand there's a liaison, a middleman, okay, where whatever, let's say there's a event that's happening and Ravik is doing its assessment, and then that middleman get the information from Ravik to bring to the whoever is taking care of security for the royal family. But no, they are involved in it. It's not independent from the royal family. So, and whatever.
Especially to do that. So it's not his personal decision, but you're saying he should have kind of overruled it or circumvented it by saying, okay, I'll pay for it.
He can, Vanessa, he can overrule it if he wants to. And
Yeah,
I would
he can.
overrule it for my 6 grandchildren. I would do that for my grandchildren.
And the Queen had show us that it can be done, because they did it for the Queen did it for Harry and Meghan. Alright, so it can be done. It's Charles who doesn't want to do it. And the other thing as well, I could understand the royal family have its own people and Ravik. The only thing I would say is because I can understand the fear of the royal family, because they could have bad actors within institutions who despise them. I can understand that. But the person or people that the palace has in Ravik should not be discussing or implementing, giving opinion how security should run. They should, the palace, whoever has in Ravik, should be there in every discussion, just to listen, to understand the discussion that is being done in Ravik, and bring back to the palace. That I can understand because of their fear of bad actors with different departments probably using Ravik to ploy against them. So what Charles is doing is using Ravik against his own son. This is where the problem is. You understand what I mean? He could have 2 people placed in Ravik, but those people in Ravik placed by the royal family should not be implementing, because they don't have the knowledge. They don't go to security schools or whatever that make them an expert to provide security. Okay, place them there, just listen to the discussion. Any discussion that is happening about the royal family, they be there to listen to what's happening and whatnot, and implement and bring back the information to the palace. But to use the Ravik against his own family, this is where the problem is. He's using the system against his own son.
It just goes to show what sort of money it is, really.
Let me let it play without me interfering. And I thought this lady's show, what's her name? Is this a different show? I thought that her show was cancelled. There's a screenshot I think I did a while back that says her show is cancelled. But whatever, let's play it again.
Lovely to hear from you. Sharon, how are you feeling about Prince Harry in this current predicament where he can't even stay at Buckingham Palace now?
Good afternoon, lovely Vanessa. Again. Now, Tessa, I'm so glad that Harry's not staying at Buckingham Palace. I'm so glad.
Why?
I'm not being crazy, but Charles is the richest man in the world, and he can't even afford to pay for his grandchildren, if he wants for his grandchildren. I would do anything for my grandchildren. My grandchildren live in America, and if I need to visit them here, I would pay for it. Charles expects the taxpayer taxpayers to pay for it. I find it absolutely shocking and appalling, and I think you should be ashamed of yourself. I really do.
So what you're saying, Sharon, is that you feel that the king ought to have been paying for their security while they're here out of his own pocket?
I do.
Right.
Yes, out of his own pocket, not taxpayers. Why does he think taxpayers should pay for it? Why can't he pay for it? He's a very rich man. Why not?
And if I say the fact, which is it wasn't the king's decision, it isn't the king that reviews it to see whether Harry ought or ought not to have security. That.
At this point, I'm feeling very let down. It's the minority of people, especially those that read the tabloids and the press themselves. The press themselves have incited so much hatred towards myself, my wife, and even our children. That's hard to forgive. I actually couldn't believe it. I thought with all the disagreements and all of the chaos that's happening, the one thing that I could rely on is my family keeping me safe. And not only did they decide to remove my security in the UK, but they also signaled to every single government around the world not to protect us.
It's a particular body that exists specially to do that. So it's not his personal decision, but you're saying he should have kind of overruled it or circumvented it by saying, okay, I'll pay for it.
He can, Vanessa, he can overrule it if he wants to. And I would overrule it for my grandchildren. I would do that for my grandchildren. You know, it just goes to show what sort of man he is, really.
Yeah, Charles could overrule it. Okay, next he should take away the title and remove them from the line of succession and free them all the royal shackles. I mean, Harry already said to take it away. Okay, would love to see him try, seeing as his own mother allow him to keep his titles. I mean, this is nonsense, because Harry already told them to take it. They don't want to. There were petition to take Harry's title. Parliament said no. So what else can Harry does? He was born in it. Alright, late Queen Elizabeth II made security accommodation possible for Harry and his family. Chuck is a trash king, father, grandfather. He extends a home and security for a pedo. The title as head of the church is an ongoing joke. Alright, Chuck pays for Andrew. These monarchists are ridiculous, but Chuck is a truly terrible person. First to Diana and now to Harry and his family. Black him Harry. Chuck and Scooter or toxic. Scooter, that's the heir. Buckingham Palace is a place associated with pedophile, and only God knows what other kinds of evil. Why would Harry want to stay there? Yeah, what I think happened is that Harry said no, he's not staying at the palace, and then they turned the headline saying it's Charles who said no. That's what I think happened. Charles cares nothing for his grandchildren. Meghan is not welcome in the UK, so you got your wish. Go follow Lazy Kate around. That's what I'm saying. This fat just wants to see the children so she can make money off talking about them. If someone shows who they are, believe them. So sick, oh Harry. Alright, let's go to the next one. Alright. The first thing Prince Harry does after arriving in the UK is support his friend Missan, a man that has been the victim of targeted attacks by the right-wing media. Missan has been dealing with onslaught from the media, and no one understands how that feels more than Harry himself. The UK system. This is what they're trying to bring in the US. It's here in the US already, but there's some pushback. This is the thing that I sort of like about the US. There's some pushback. Prince Harry attends the UK premiere of Missan Harriman, Shoot the People. I love Missan. He is truly an artist, and he doesn't sit on injustice. He is the type of friend you want in your corner, top guy. I love how they support each other. They thought they broke my man, but here he is, well moisturized. Alright, so that's all of that. Alright, love to see it. Love this. Chosen family. I love this. Next tweet. Okay, so this is Erica. Let's see what Erica is saying here. If I was on TikTok, these are the people I will follow. Okay, so there's no caption. I cannot read whatever is there. So let's listen. 2 minutes and 7 seconds. And there's no comment. And I'll go to the next tweet right after that.
Mike Tindall is right. England, you do miss the old Prince Harry. You miss the reckless, always under the influence, fighting, mess, third will to will and cave. You miss that Prince Harry, don't you? Because that Prince Harry represents what a lot of you were and still are. You haven't grown. You're stuck. You see a man who said, I'm going to do better, not just for myself, but for the woman that I love, because I don't want to lose her. So, after already cleaning himself up, he sought more therapy. He started encouraging other men to do the same so that they can be better husbands, brothers, sons, just overall people in life. He called out his racism in the past.
Okay, like I was just saying a few moments ago. Okay, Harry, he's trying to make others better. If he does something for somebody and the person show appreciation, and I think that's good enough for him. There's something happened. I'm gonna try to keep it as discreet as possible. Event that I went to, and this person who had held a high profile position in the US to a certain state, I don't want to say the state as well, and he has done a lot of good things for kids, and my kids have benefit from it, so that I will share, because that's how I was able to meet him and talk to him and things like that. And I've donated a lot of things to certain things. All right. After that particular event happened, and I spoke with him, and I said, I thank you for everything you have done. My kids benefit from it. I appreciate it, whatnot. And he said, you're the first person who told me that. I was like, really? Because he's been doing whatever he has been doing. I'm trying to keep it as discreet as possible so I don't pinpoint who he is. And he was like, my God, you're the first person who said that to me. I truly appreciate it. And he's an old guy. And I said, with everything you have accomplished, I literally told him that, but I'm paraphrasing a little bit. And I said, with everything you have done, you have held high profile office. You could have easily settled with your wife and your kids, but you're still doing this. I truly appreciate it. And he was really touched by it. So things like that, when people do good things, you need to let them know, because they truly care about certain things. All right, so why did I bring it up? With Harry, all he needs is a little bit thank you. He feels good about it. I'm moving it back.
Other men do the same so that they can be better husbands, brothers, sons, just overall people in life. He called out his racism in the past, and even spoke about how that is detrimental still to this day. And you all ignore for that. You hate that he loves her. You hate that he loves this woman who is not white, who is not British. You fucking hate it. Well, too bad. Mike Tyndall is exactly the man that you all deserve, and quite frankly, you need. You need this arrested development. You need this pighead behavior. You need this nasty ass man who cheats on his wife and makes a mockery out of everything you all claim Meghan made a mockery of. You got the people you deserve. Leave Prince Harry alone. He's too good for you. Bye.
Pretty much what I'm saying is that the UK is like, many of you in the UK may not like what I'm gonna say, but keep your MAGA kind of thing in the US. But the UK is displaying the MAGA type of personality. They are the head of MAGAs type of personality. Okay, they want to normalize those behaviors of those white men everywhere. They want to normalize it. So the UK is getting away with it discreetly, and they brought it up in the US to normalize it, put it on the world stage, and said this is the way for white men to behave. Okay, they want the United States to publicize it and tell all white men around the globe this is the way to behave, to normalize it, implement that same stupid mentality within their government system, so they could get away with it. Anywhere they go, they could do anything they want with children. This is what they want to happen. But the thing is that when you bring it to the US, as you can see, it's on world stage. People are seeing the behavior of white men. Now, the pushback. There's a lot of people who's doing the pushback. They will also see, the rest of the world will also see how the US is combating it. Okay, it's like a double sword here. People in different countries could say, oh, this is how the US is doing it, let's implement it. Perfect example, how African Americans are doing and boycotting different ways and things like that. Guess what? Other countries are seeing it as well. This is why they don't like African Americans.
Video of the Israeli government holding a private convention here in the United States. One of the people in attendance at this secret meeting was Judith Varnai Shorer. She's a former Israeli consul general who was operating out of Atlanta. She was one of the main people saying that the biggest problem that they had was young black people in the United States. But don't worry, they've got some black leaders on the payroll.
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community.
This was an Israeli government official who was saying this, not some low-level operative or some rogue member of their diplomatic corps. This was a senior member of their administrative government who was saying this on American soil. Their biggest problem wasn't Hamas or Hezbollah or the Palestinian Authority or Syria or even Iran. She said that Israel's biggest problem was young black people in the United States.
When African Americans do things, the rest of the world see it and follow. So it's a double sword that we are playing here. Like I've said with Harry and Meghan, I was like, you could see the parallel between the US and the UK. It's like right there for everyone to see. Okay, the differences. You choose a side. It's not hard to choose the moment you see both, both qualities. But anyway, I think this is done, right? Oh, there's more. Let's bring it back here, like right here. Alright, there's a video.
And a large part of it for the family, but also the British press and numerous other people is like, he's changed. She must be a witch. He's changed. As opposed to, yeah, I did change. I'm really glad I changed. Because rather than getting drunk, falling out of clubs, taking drugs, I've now found the love of my life. And I now have the opportunity to start a family with her.
Alright, so that's that. There's no comment. Let's go to the next tweet. Alright, let's pause. Buckingham Palace says Prince Harry will not be staying there during his London visit, saying he missed the deadline to confirm the offer. Harry's team said he had accepted the invitation after earlier uncertainty, but the offer was later withdrawn. The dispute adds to wider tension within the royal family ahead of his trip and any possible meeting with King Charles. Maybe Harry played them, let them know, okay, I'm gonna accept, but then tell them when he's coming so they don't plan. But he knew he wasn't gonna stay, so I think it's Harry who declined. Or maybe they are right about this, I don't know, because the royal family, they lie about everything. I think it's Harry who told them, no, I'm not staying. I have other place to stay. So they turned the headline the other way. All right, so let's listen. Oh, I'll enlarge the text. Nobody's talking. So I'll show you the caption. Oh my god, I'm not gonna read all of that. They did the same thing to Diana. Let's see here. I read this someplace else. You could pause and read. Spokesperson for the Duke of Sussex said, following Vivek's decision not to provide security for his family, the Duke spent last week making alternative security arrangements. Once those arrangements were in place, he was able to formally accept the offer of accommodation for himself over the weekend. It is therefore disappointing that the offer has now been withdrawn, with Tuesday's judgment and the Associate newspaper limited case cited as the reason. Buckingham Palace has, however, been aware of that judgment since last Thursday. It is therefore unclear why, having formally accepted the accommodation offer, it has now been withdrawn at the last moment. What I think happened, they're probably putting him a place where it's not secure, okay, and the palace, because they had offered him that before when he traveled to the UK to meet his father after the father announced his cancer diagnosis. And when the palace, when Charles offered him to stay in the palace, they put him in a place where it was unsafe. So Harry probably said, if I'm staying there, they probably offer him the same unsafe area. I'm gonna have certain people staying here as well to make sure things are safe for him, even though the palace doesn't have how do you call this, cameras. And then they withdraw. I don't know, this is my opinion, I'm just saying, because I just don't see how things can be like that. The royals are liars, manipulators, and evil thugs at royal family. They tagged them. Royal Kensington Royal, you've just sealed your fate. There was never a real offer, just lies, hate, abuse, manipulation. Harry was never the problem. Abolish the monarchy. Alright, I believe Diana's son. Okay, he got better things at home. Imagine putting a deadline. If your son wants to visit, it made me chuckle when I read it. Despicable, treacherous, and callous lot. This is not a family, but a cult mafia. There are no tension. They just hate Harry for being a traitor. I mean, what traitor? Harry is not a traitor. He just told his truth. Slagging all off, slagging the BP staff off, and the country, and the Commonwealth. Hopefully, Dumbo will get the message and not return again. Why did they offer him his charity? I meant to block it. Oh, please. Let me block that. Alright, this same Buckingham Palace, they can keep it. Why Queen knew Andrew brought prostitute into Buckingham Palace, author says. You could pause and read it more. What's that? It looks like Daily Mail is gonna found guilty tomorrow, as that paper is part of a propaganda machine for royal family. Clearly they are not happy with this case brought up by Harry and Co. company. Well, let's see what's gonna happen tomorrow. Taxability. Yeah, they really wanted to harm him, especially for bringing the lawsuit. Okay? And I think Harry knew how they, Harry grew up with them. He knew their tactic. So he probably did some maneuver and cut them off. You know, I don't know. So there's that. I need to, July 7, let's see. It looks like they, okay. Judgment expected on July 7 and Prince Harry's legal battle against Mail Publisher. So that was written on July 1st. So it's today. Today is July 7th. So we'll see. So far he has won all 3 cases against the papers. So let's see how that. When that case was going on, the last one with Daddy Fell, I didn't come across anything to share with you. Whatever I saw, I share it with you, which was pretty much nothing. Alright, next week. If Harry didn't want to be treated this way, then he shouldn't have written Spare. Then Charles write a book where he literally attacks his mother. Alright, let's put this big. I didn't want to go into it. Alright, Charles also did a documentary called Charles, the Private Man. The public role aired on ITV on June 29, 1994, before the book. The documentary explored his early life and upbringing, describing a lonely childhood where he was largely raised by nannies because his parents, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, were often busy with royal duties. It portrayed the Queen as emotional, distant, and Philip as strict and overbearing. I spoke about these 2 things, about the Queen being sent overseas. This is where the problem started. Okay, the palace made sure, this is my narrative. The palace made sure the Queen was sent overseas so they could start training Charles at a young age. When you look at some past videos in Israel, kids in school being trained how to, when they see Palestinian, how to behave, they started them young. So this is Charles right there. Okay, They started him young. In order for the palace to train Charles, they had to send the queen overseas. Now, when Prince Philip, on the other hand, who was a bit stricter, sent him to his school because he felt like the school that he went to, I'm talking about Prince Philip, fix him or make him the man that he had become, felt like his son should, face the same way. It was a bit too late for Prince Philip to do that. Now Charles refused it, and each time I think Prince Philip tried to discipline Charles, the palace overruled him. Why? Because Prince Philip, who pretty much had more titles than the queen. Okay, if you look it up, Prince Philip had more titles than the queen. He's just a man without a country to back him up. Okay, so they used that against Prince Philip and said, look, if you want security, again, same thing with Harry, if you want security, if you want all the lifestyle and all of that, you have to comply. So they made him comply, and Charles say, okay, he's the heir to the throne. The palace trained Charles to be the man that he is. Okay, that's by taking the queen out of the country, and they train him by nannies, whoever that whatnot. I've spoke about it. Actually, I have a screenshot of the narrative of what I'm talking about. Alright. Oh, so that's that. I went into a comment. Yeah, let's leave that alone. Next tweet. Let's go back. It was from this. That's that. Okay, here you go. Charles has described his relationship with his mother by saying that she was cold and aloof, that his father was a bully who hectored him, who made him cry in front of other people, physically bully him. Christopher Anderson said, I think it's very telling that Charles only spent as a boy. That was back in 2022. You could read the rest. It's pretty legible, but you could read it. What? From Washington Post, 1994. Written by a friend with Charles' cooperation. It is rueful, self-justifying, self-pitying story of a lonely childhood, a remote and relentless demanding father, a marriage into which Charles was browbeaten, and one that by his account fell apart despite his best effort to cope with Princess Diana's bewildering nomadic behavior.
How did the rest of the royal family react when they learnt that the child that you were to have was going to be a boy?
Well, everybody was thrilled to bits. It was been quite a difficult pregnancy. I hadn't been very well throughout it. So by the time William arrived, there was great relief because it was all peaceful again, and I was well for a time. Then I was unwell with postnatal depression, which no one ever discusses postnatal depression. You have to read about it afterwards, and that in itself was a bit of a difficult time. You'd wake up in the morning feeling you didn't want to get out of bed, you felt misunderstood, and you're just very, very low in yourself.
Was this completely out of character for you?
Yes, very much so. I've never had a depression in my life. But then when I analysed it, I could see that the changes I'd made in the last year had all caught up with me, and my body had said, we want a rest.
What was the family's reaction to your postnatal depression?
Well, maybe I was the first person ever to be in this family who ever had a depression or was ever openly tearful. And obviously that was daunting, because if you've never seen it before, how do you support it?
What effect did the depression have on your marriage?
Well, it gave everybody a wonderful new label. It's Diana's unstable, and Diana's mentally imbalanced. And unfortunately, that seems to have stuck on and off over the years.
Anyway, they have the papers everywhere to cover for them. Let me bookmark this. And there's more. The people are talking. Just in case if you want to see this, you could pause it. Oh, it's very small. You could read this. This is my last one for this video. Oh my god, I'm already 30 minutes. UK BP Prince Harry. Alright, so Buckingham Palace with 775 rooms does not have any room available for the King's son, Prince Harry. Okay, Charles is a clown for real. I think I listened to this. She didn't say anything. I probably will fast forward it. She's just eating grapes. So that's pretty much it. Alright, so that's that. So these are the comments. What else? Sussex visit. Let me see. I'm taking some from my next video. Let's see here.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life. You are all in this together, and if I may speak personally, we are all in this together, because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better